Hey folks, this is Kiani, and today I want to talk about a problem and a solution I have. Has this ever happened to you? You go into the 1.16 Nether, you're building in a cool delta biome, basalt delta, and then you find out your base is full of magma cubes. Oh no! What do you do about that? How do you get rid of magma cubes? Right? Do you just kill them? That takes an hour. Look at this. This is a netherite sword, fully enchanted. How long this takes, you know? This sucks. And I just have this to deal with. Oh no, they're in my house too. What am I gonna do? There's so many, and they hit like trucks. Magma cubes, I don't know if they got buffed or something. They're dangerous little boys these days. Well, you do what I do. Activate your Iron Golem defense system. Sometimes they just walk into the fire. Bam. No more magma cubes. Also carpet. Carpet works really well. You want some glass maybe. Oh man. I hate magma cubes. They're really hard to deal with. That's why these boys exist. And today, I'm going to show you how to build this right here. The Iron Golem defense system. So, let's skip. I'm going to have to tear this out to show you. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so let's start building this thing. You've got your wall carved out. You've got a big hole. And you've got, frankly, too much redstone. So, let's start with what we know. Let's grab... You also have an iron farm. And honestly, not that one. One day I'll figure out how to use buttons. A gold farm. This is unnecessary. I like to build my redstone on gold, so gotta put that farm to work somehow. Ah, these magma cubes. Gotta deal with them. So, first things first. I've used these heads to mark where I want the golems. So, a golem is built first and foremost in a little T shape. And that's all the iron blocks I'm going to need right now. So let's put these up for a minute. Now, we need dispensers. So, because I think the easiest way to do redstone, generally speaking, is to start with what you need and work from there. So I've put those back there so that I can easily place my dispensers. Oh no, sorry, they actually need to be one forward, so they need to be in the same line with that. So you don't need that block back there, I guess. And dispenser. Alright, so we have our iron golem. Didn't I break that? Oh, I broke the basalt. So we have essentially the iron golem, right? In each of these dispensers, what we're gonna do is put a stack of carved pumpkins. This is how an iron golem is made. You need 4 iron blocks in this T shape, and you put a carved pumpkin on top of it, and bam, it becomes a golem. So now what we need to do is this dispenser is going to want to dispense onto this block here, which means these 4 need to be on that block. So the best way we can do that is to push them. We're not going to use sticky pistons, we're going to use regular pistons, because we don't want them to retract or anything. I guess it wouldn't matter once they become golems, it shouldn't affect them in any way, but you never know. So what we're going to do, I'm going to build this same T-shape, one behind them, and this will make it so I can actually take out these iron blocks for a minute. So we don't need those there at the moment, and we're going to put 4 pistons right behind them. Make sure I get, yeah, 8 iron blocks. And then bam, 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 bam. There. So now we have the pistons that'll push it out, and we have dispensers that'll dispense it. And we're going to want an activation mechanism of some kind. I like to put a button right here. Um, before, these used to be like right next to each other, and I had a button over here on the wall. You can put it wherever you want, obviously. Just I like it right here in the middle, right? So we're gonna end up putting our button right there. I'm not gonna do it in that though. Yeah, polished blackstone. All my walls are polished blackstone. No more of this. No more of this ugly basalt. Living high life now. All right. So this is the full mechanism that we'll see in the front. This is what we want to activate. So let's play some redstone games. First, put our dispensers and our pistons away. We don't need that. What we do need is let's grab the stack. We need redstone. We're gonna need other stuff. I'm sure. Hoppers. Actually, need one more dispenser. A couple of lamps. A couple of comparators. No levers, thankfully. It's not levers day. Alright, so let's break these out because we don't need those anymore. Actually, in the way. Alright, so 1.16 has given us some really interesting redstone ability now. Before, you could not run a redstone line behind these pistons, right? If you did, it would become a line like that. Does it still work though? Yeah. So this no, that function that one. We're gonna need some repeaters. I think I was thinking of this repeater change. I was just making stuff up in my head. All right, so we're gonna put a repeater into each block, and then if we run a redstone line behind that, yeah. See, now this goes into the repeaters, which is very nice. If I do that, you'll see all four have activated. This bottom one is activating due to quasi-connectivity, which is a weird property of pistons. So basically this top middle piston is getting powered, and because it is, it'll also power this one. If I put another one here, this would get powered. If I put another one over there, it would also get powered. But if I put a third one below it, this one isn't like technically powered in the real sense, so it wouldn't activate another one. Like, it doesn't chain down. But this is a weird property of pistons. It's very bug-like, but at this point it is essentially a feature of the game. It's been around basically since pistons. And Mojang doesn't fix it, although I don't think they've acknowledged it as an actual feature. So one day maybe we'll lose QC, but it's that would probably be the end of Minecraft if we did so. But anyway, all you need is these 4 blocks like this. Let me get up there to show you again. We're not going to use this torch, obviously, but this is just to show how it gets powered. So you just need three repeaters into these, and then redstone behind them. Very simple. Break this out. None of this matters. And so of course do the same on the other side. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. So all your pistons are powered. Now we need to get power. Remember, this is our block with a button, so we're going to need to move power down from here to here. Fairly easy to do, given that it is a button. So we're just going to go like this, and run a redstone line like that. And guess what? That'll do that. So now what we need to do is, let's see, we need to activate the dispensers. To do that, will this work? Sometimes you gotta play around with redstone. I didn't like memorize how this was all built. This is how I build things. So I'm gonna put a block there and an observer, and I think that, because this observer will power this block, which hopefully weakly powers the dispenser, and if I do this, yes. The golem's hurting because he's inside the pit. The pistons are constantly pushed out right now. So he's taking suffocation damage because he's inside of it. That's no big deal. So what I've done is an observer looking into this block here. Sorry, looking at this redstone. Right, the redstone takes up this whole airspace block. Right, even though it's just a little line. So when it lights up, the observer detects it. Since power to this block, which powers the all blocks next to it. So if I had another redstone dust here, ghost blocks are back, by the way. So if I had another redstone dust here, I can't put it here because it's a piston extended. It doesn't work like that. If the piston was closed, I could put the redstone dust on here, but then when it extends, it'd break it off. But anyway, if I could put redstone dust here, this block would be able to power it, assuming there was still power going through it. The observer only does a single pulse, a very short one tick pulse. But because we made the golem, we know the dispenser dispensed, even though I couldn't hear it. Didn't matter. Which means we can just repeat the same on the other side. Oh yeah. So, little fun fact about observers: they're placed facing the direction you're facing. So, like you'll see, an observer has a little face on it. If I put one here, see it's got a little face on it. That face faces the direction you're facing. So, whatever you wanted to observe, that's the block you want to be clicking on, essentially. So now we've got two observers facing this redstone line, which is connected to the button behind it, and connects to all of these pistons. And that, if I do this, I made another golem. Fun fact about golems that you make is they are not hostile to you. So actually, you can attack them. Just doing this to get them out of the way. You can attack them and they won't fight back, which sounds sad. But when they wander out of their pin and like up into your chest room, no matter how much carpet you put down, they can't. I don't think they can pathfind over carpet like this. I made too high carpet here, and most mobs can't pathfind over too high carpet. That's the same here. I try to get them to stop walking into this fire. I don't think they can pathfind over that, but they managed to do it anyway. Golems have weird pathfinding abilities. But anyway, we can see now that this works, right? It functioned on both sides. We just have to replace the iron blocks. That's why it only made one. So this is a slightly manual farm. You do have to replace the iron blocks every time, because a dispenser cannot dispense an iron block. It can dispense blocks. It can place certain blocks, but it cannot place an iron block, which means this farm will forever be somewhat manual. So what we're going to do is we can cover up this, and you can see the wall kind of coming together already. We'll put our iron blocks back later. I don't want to activate this thing and make a bunch of golems. That's why I killed those two. So now what we need to do is my favorite part. We're going to, since we need to replace these blocks, we need a way to get iron blocks. So it's not unreasonable to just have a bunch of iron blocks on you. If you have a big iron farm, it's not unreasonable to have a bunch of iron blocks on you. But I don't like to live my life like that. So, I mean, I do have some, but never. I don't just like always have 8. So what I'm gonna do is put a dispenser in the floor. No, I missed. So you'll see this dispenser's facing up. You can tell by the little hole. And that's what we want it to do, is face up. So now, let's say I put something in this dispenser and I power it. Boom, see? Shoots up. A fun property of dispensers is that they can shoot through solid blocks. Boom, see? They can't place a block through a solid block. Maybe they could. I don't know. If I put a water bucket in there, it might put water above it. Not sure. It might fail. But if the block is open like this, it'll dispense in some sort of random direction. Like every time I do this, like that came out the back. Okay, that came out the back. That came out the back. Well, it probably has something to do with directionality of the game. There's a lot of like east-west, north-south kind of weird redstone mechanics. But if I put a block here, it spins out the side, right? And so you may see where I'm going. If I put a block on all sides, it dispenses out the top. Now, oh yeah, gotta break that. Alright, I don't want all of these to be gold blocks. Hey, no. Now we'll fix our floor later. I don't want all those to be gold blocks, because those will be visible. What I want is those to be floor blocks, which I have in here. It's like, where'd all my floors go? I do, oh, not regular blackstone. I do my floors in, at least these floors, in bricks and cracked bricks. But in this case, I miss badly. Boop, 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 and then just put these here. Yes, I think that's the right configuration for them. And what I'm gonna do is just place that there. All right, so now every time this dispenses, it'll dispense out through the floor, right? So what we're gonna do, this is why I have so many iron blocks in here. I broke this dispenser earlier, and it's like, oh, now my inventory is full of iron blocks. So I've made a lot of golems. This doesn't need to be totally full. It's you should keep it at least all 9 spaces full, and I'll explain that later. But now what we need to do is connect this dispenser to the wiring up here. When I press this button, I want 2 iron golems to pop out, and then the dispenser to shoot out, theoretically, 8 blocks. Right? I want 8 iron blocks that I can replace. I have not tuned it such that it will give me 8 blocks, but I can get 9, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've destroyed, I can't get out the front way. Yeah, I can't. Alright, so this button needs to be stone. That's a thing. The buttons in the game have different pulse lengths. They'll be pressed in for longer. They'll give you longer or shorter pulses. This one specifically gives you, I think it's 10 redstone ticks, which is 20 game ticks. And you don't need to know how long that is. But it's stone button is very specific. You want a stone button for this, for the timing mechanism. So what I'm gonna do, this is a very simple timing mechanism. I do need 1 sticky piston. So what we're going to do is make a simple observer clock. So we're going to put an observer, actually facing the other way. This can be a little bit difficult. Yeah, okay. So you can see from the overhead, the triangle points to where it's dispensing power to. And what we're going to do is put another one going this way. You don't have to put these blocks, they just help for placement. Alright, and then we're going to put a sticky piston. See, you can click on this. Like the corners of the blocks you use matter. So I didn't need to put a block behind it. And then, so when this sticky piston pushes, it's going to make these observers face each other, and they're both gonna start receiving updates. This observer will activate because it sees this block. It's watching this air block, and then this one gets pushed into it. And then this one sees this observer activate, which is a block update, and they just chain each other, and they go tick, 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 and they just keep going as long as they're facing each other. They'll click every redstone tick forever, which will provide power to the dispenser and make it constantly shoot. So all we have to do is time how long this exists, right? So when it'll extend, and then it'll retract, which will take the observer with it as well. And all we have to do now is address how long this this redstone is powered. This piston is powered. So first we need to bring our power down from up here. You'll remember there's a redstone line here, right? So first things first, we're going to bring power down. Let's get we don't need any more sticky pistons. So nope, that was the wrong block. Bam. All right. Alright, So we've pulled power down. This button will provide 15 power, so it's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see we have plenty of room to do this with. Um, but the button itself, the 10 redstone ticks, is not going to be long enough to do what we're going to do. So what we want to do is make a very short, what's called a pulse extender. And this it sounds complicated. You're like, oh, a pulse extender, right? Maybe if you don't do very much redstone. But what it is, a pulse extender, basically as long as you want it to be. That's not 100% true, but like you can just. Oh, I only grabbed 2 of those. But let me just say, like a pulse extender could be like this. You take 3 comparators in a row, and then 3 comparators in the same row going backwards, right? And you put redstone on the side of them. So you want reds. It doesn't matter which side this comes out or which side this comes out, right? Because basically the pulse is going to go in here, and the comparators are going to kind of keep the pulse going, and it's actually pretty fun to watch. If you so I'll break this and I'll throw a torch down. You'll see. So when I break it, you see how they're still activated, and they'll slowly fade, right? The more of these you put in a line, the longer that pulse is going to go. We don't need a long pulse. That is all a pulse extender is. We don't need a long pulse. So what we do need is an extremely short one. So you want to, let's take 2 redstone out from that direction. We're going to go like this. Bam, 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 bam. And so now we've connected this redstone line into this pulse extender. We only want the short one, right? And we want the one redstone line, because if we were up here, if we were 1 forward, you'll see it doesn't connect. See how it changed? So it needs to have 1 redstone line off of that. I'm gonna change this a little bit. It's the same setup. It is a good idea when you're doing redstone to use a specific block type. Some people like to use concrete or wool or things like that, but it's to make sure you know when you're doing more digging that the blocks that if you encounter like one of these blocks, you'll know that redstone is on top of it. You shouldn't dig it out. So if I'm like, if I'm digging around below and I come up, I'll encounter these gold blocks and be like, oh, I should stop, right? Because redstone's on top of that. So I'm actually going to place these under here too. And I use gold blocks because I have an overpowered gold farm, and there's there's only so much you can do with gold, even today. Do a lot of piglin trading. And it's fun. It's just fun. It's ostentatious. It's gaudy. I like it. That's my whole base, right? Black and gold, look at me. But this is it. So when I press the button now, let's see. Okay, so you definitely need a block here, but you cannot put a block here because it will prevent this observer from getting pushed in. So you can put a block there. Those will be, I'll replace those with blackstone. But if I put, I guess I can grab it from here. Didn't have the blocks on me. So if I replace these, now what we should see, if I press this button, both these golems will pop out, and I'll get actually 9 iron blocks. So right now I have 41, so I should go up to 50, right? So I hit this button, pop out, and then when I take these, 50. Now he's stuck because reasons. They can take a little bit of damage, a little suffocation damage, especially when the pistons are out. They like to take damage. It's not a big deal. They're iron golems. The only time you should do this if you have an iron golem farm, if you have easy access to iron blocks. As you can see, I have stacks, and that's not even it's not even close to what I have, so it's irrelevant. If they die, they die, and they will die. The magma cubes hit hard, and sometimes I kill them for wandering into my chest room. So that's literally it. All you have to do, sorry, that's not quite it. I'm glad I fell in this hole because it reminded me of the last thing we need to do. So I got 9 iron blocks and I only need 8, which means every time you do this, you're just gonna get 1 iron block in your inventory. And nobody wants that, right? Like, I mean, you don't have to do this next part. This is 100%. We have the Iron Golem defense system is done, but nobody wants that, right? And you also, this dispenser theoretically is eventually going to run out of iron, right? So what? How are we going to refill that, right? Well, simple answer. We're going to use hoppers. Run a little hopper line. I have a data pack that shows you which direction hoppers are going. It's called Vanilla Tweak Seal. You'll find it on Azumavoid's website. I don't know. He runs Hermitcraft. If you know what Hermitcraft is, you know Azumavoid. But anyway, throw some hoppers like that. This one doesn't have an arrow because it's facing down. And then you just cover them up. So I'm gonna use patented blackstone. And let's get rid of these. Throw some blackstone back in there. And then we build our walls. We just put the walls back in. Do I have the? Yeah, I have blocks. All right, so wall. And then that'll be floor. I'm not really sure what happened to all my blocks, honestly. This is wall. Oh, that's not wall. That's part of the golem. Let's put these back on. Right, and then you just yeah. Bam. Iron Golem defense system completed. Now, a couple of things. Oh, and see this right here. You just take your last block of iron. I know I have a bunch of blocks of iron, but remember I had 41 to start. Just throw one in there. It goes right back into the dispenser. Now, eventually, sure, it'll run out. But like, just throw more iron blocks in there. Right, boom. It's all in the dispenser. Take 9 stacks, throw it in there. The hoppers will fill up, but if as they get used, the hoppers will go back in. The hoppers will continue to drop into there. So like you can put tons and tons, more, probably more than you'll ever need. So one thing to note about iron golems is they need arm space to be made. So if I put a block here and here, when these get pushed out, you'll see this is this T shape is going to be on top of this block. It won't work. This is also true. Don't quote me on this. We're about to test a theory I had a while back. But I think if I'll have to break these blocks. I think if a block is powered, so if I put like a torch right here, and this when this gets pushed out, this this iron block here will get powered by this torch. I think if one of these blocks is powered, it doesn't work. So if I hit this, no, I'm wrong. I had a problem. This guy does not like to get out of his little hole. Jesus, he doesn't usually do that. A lot of times there's magma cubes and they get on them very quickly. See, and golems really get in the way sometimes. I'm not. You should never have more than a couple golems around. Master, why? Alright. But that's it, right? So just don't put any blocks under their arms when they get pushed out, or they won't get made. I saw what you did. And that's it. That's your iron golem defenses. Oh yeah, and then carved pumpkins. Put as many as you want in these dispensers. Now, unfortunately, the dispenser does need to be open, so it is kind of an open face thing. It's a very obvious redstone contraption. So aesthetically, it's not going to fit in everything. You know, I didn't put this in the rest of my fortress. I've spawn proofed. You know, carpet spawn proofs against magma cubes, but the problem with magma cubes is they don't respond to anything. They only respond simply to the blocks, right? So if a block is spawnable, it's probably spawnable for a magma cube because they can spawn on regular blocks. They can spawn on blocks that deal damage, like or that deal fire damage, but like magma blocks, right? And they don't care about the light level. I know these don't give off very much light. Light level in here is probably atrocious. Right, if I check, yeah, 7s, you know. But it doesn't matter because I'm in a sandstone. Not sandstone. Whatever this is, a basalt delta, and that only spawns a couple of different kinds of mobs, mainly magma cubes. You can hear them squishing around right now. But because magma cubes don't don't respond at all to blocks. You have to do. You're pretty much limited to like carpet, limiting headspace. I think they need 3 blocks to spawn. Some of them, the big ones do at least. Um, that kind of thing. You can limit your headspace. You can put down carpets because they can't spawn on carpets. You can put any kind of non-spawnable block. Like I have glass down here, right? I made a little nether enclosure. If you look, I'm not seeing them. There's bees down there. They can't spawn on glass, right? Anything that's not anything that's considered a transparent block, they can't spawn on. But you can't, you know, you just can't build your base out of that. Like I don't want to carpet everything. I want these good floor textures, these new blocks and stuff. So magma cubes are a real hassle. And so when I come home after a long day, sitting AFK at my gold farm, I I can just pop this button and big iron golem defense system. That guy just doesn't want to leave his little. I mean, I'll let him die. I don't care. I have infinite iron golem. Oh, yeah. When they die, they drop iron. That's where you guys came from. I'm recycling you. But anyway, that's that. So have fun. Build it in your base. Do whatever you want with it. Be aware that iron golems roam aimlessly all the time. I'm gonna find them up here. I'm gonna find them up here in my chest room where I don't want them to be. I'd like them to stay in this room because everything else is pretty much spawn proof. You'll see these are bottom half slabs. I don't think they can spawn on. I mean, they can spawn on gold blocks. I don't think this provides them the necessary surface area to do that. This is carpeted. This is all carpeted. This doesn't have enough space in it, and that's all glass. Like they could spawn in this spot. You know what I mean? They could spawn over here in this. And that's why I carpeted my whole chest room. But this is mainly the area I'm going to see magma cubes, and that's why it's here. But anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's a bit long, but I hope it's a fun contraption that you can have fun with. And you know, until then, be happy.